The topic of finding the intercepts of a function is something that's probably been covered in pretty much every past math course that you've taken. So this should be a quick review. The x intercepts of a function or a relation are just the points where the function crosses the x-axis. To find them, it's really easy. We just set y equal to 0 and solve for whatever x values you find. Similarly, the y-intercepts of a function or a relation are just the points where the function crosses the y-axis. You're going to find those by setting x equal to 0 and solving for the y-coordinate. I did put one point here. If you're actually working with a function, the function will have at most one y-intercept. And I'd actually recommend you pause the video for a second and think for a minute about why a function can only have one y-intercept. And the reason is, if you're looking at a graph of something, if it ever had more than one y-intercept, that means it immediately failed the vertical line test, and using the language of functions, that means that the input of 0 had multiple output values, and that's not acceptable for a function. So I have just one example here where I will ask you to find the x and y intercepts of a function. In this example, I'd like you to find all of the intercepts of the graph of y squared equals x squared minus 5x plus 4. So pause the video and take a minute or two to find the x-intercept or intercepts and the y-intercept or intercepts. So first, to find the x-intercepts, we're supposed to set y to be 0. So we'll have 0 equals x squared minus 5x plus 4. This is a simple factoring problem. We'll end up with x minus 4 times x minus 1. Using the zero product property, we can set each of these equal to 0 and solve. We end up with 4 as one of the x-intercepts and 1 as the other x-intercept. Keep in mind, intercepts are actually points, and so we really should write these as the points 4, 0 and 1, 0. So we've now found 2 of the intercepts of this graph. So next we'll move on and look at the y-intercept. To find the y-intercepts, we're supposed to set x equal to 0. So in that case, we'll end up with y squared equals 0 minus 0 plus 4. In other words, y squared is 4. I can then take the square root of both sides and end up with plus or minus the square root of 4, which gives me plus or minus 2. So that means that the y-intercepts here are 0, 2 and 0, negative 2. And those are our intercepts. I suppose at this point it's worth mentioning that we know that this is not a function because of the fact that it had multiple y-intercepts. As soon as you see that a relation that you're working with has multiple y-intercepts, that means that it had multiple outputs. It had outputs of 2 and negative 2 for the input of 0, and that means it's not a function.